You know what's really great about Magic Spoon? One, you can take it anywhere. Went on a hike over the weekend, threw it in a sandwich bag, used that as a snack because it's loaded with 13 grams of protein per serving. Also, for a late night snack, use some Cocoa Magic Spoon, rolled it up into some peanut butter, put it into the freezer for 20 minutes. It was amazing. It was bomb. And you can get $5 off at checkout by going to magicspoon.com/Lakers. So Ice Cube wants Damian Lillard on the Lakers. Do you want Dame time in LA? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Be sure to get your votes in the comment section down below. This is where all of this stems from. So Ice Cube, he's getting the word out there that the Big Three is back. He was on Stephen A. Smith's show on Friday, and Stephen A. asked him, what advice would you give to Damian Lillard about his current situation in Portland? Ice Cube said straight up, I tell him to come to the Lakers. If he's serious about winning, especially winning championships, LA is the place to do it because we have plenty of championships here, 17 to be exact. Here's the exact quote from Ice Cube to Stephen A. to Damian Lillard. If you want a championship, he should come join the Lakers. If you want to just score a lot of points and be the man, stay in Portland. But come win a championship. You deserve it. He's given a lot to that city, so give some of that love to Los Angeles. It's the Lakers, man. Taking a look at his contract, it'd be really hard for the Lakers to bring him in. We've talked about this here on the Lakers Report. You'd probably have to give up Anthony Davis for Dame in a player-for-player swap in order to make the contracts work because the Lakers don't have a lot of salary cap room. And Dame is worth the price tag. He's one of, if not the best offensive players in the game right now. In that category with Steph Curry, definitely one of the most elite shooters in the NBA currently, and he's paid like it. This upcoming year, going to make around $39 million. The season after that, 42.4. Then it goes up to 45.5. Then it rises to 48.7 in the 2024-2025 season. Then he becomes a free agent in the 2025 offseason. Also, Damian Lillard leading into the weekend did talk about all of these trade rumors that are surrounding him. He spoke about this during USA basketball camp. They did go on to lose their exhibition game over the weekend, but Dame figuring to play a big role in the Olympics for Team USA. He had to address these rumors, and this is what he had to say. Anything that I have to say, I'm going to say it directly to Blazers general manager Neil Olshey, and I'm going to address it directly with my team. There's really nothing else I have to say about it. There's a lot of things being said, and sometimes words being put in my mouth, and I haven't said anything. If there is something to be said, or if I think something or have something to say, then I'm going to say it, and I'm going to stand on it. There's no doubt about this. Damian Lillard is a really special player. You've seen him stick the knife in hearts of playoff opponents year after year. But in 4 of the last 5 years, the Blazers have failed to make it out of the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. They've only made it to the Western Conference Finals once. That's when they went down to the Golden State Warriors back a couple seasons ago before the Warriors fell to the Toronto Raptors in the NBA Finals. You're talking about an all-time great player, a cold-blooded killer who still at this point in his career, even though Dame is in his early 30s, still has some really prime years left. He got drafted by the Blazers back in 2012. There hasn't been a lot of postseason success, as I mentioned. I would be frustrated if I'm Dame about the lack of playoff success. It's time for this guy to really solidify his resume and lock down his status as one of the great players of all time because, let's be honest, that's what he is right now. And he's really missing an MVP from an individual standpoint, but also an NBA Finals championship on his overall resume. Dame deserves better. And the Blazers haven't done a great job of surrounding him with a lot of pieces. The CJ McCollum-Dame tandem hasn't really worked. You know what would really work? It's Dame and LeBron James. And Ice Cube is going out there openly recruiting Damian Lillard. I'd say the possibility of this happening is very, very low. But if Dame does get traded to the Lakers, and it happened because superfan Ice Cube made it happen and made these comments known publicly, you know what he'd say at the end of the day? Today was a good day. Shout out to that legendary song, The Predator, 1993. What you know about that? I know a little bit about that. I also know how to talk hoops, and I'm saying that Dame should get himself out of Portland because he definitely deserves better. Predict it for me, Laker Nation. Where will Damian Lillard play next season? Get into the comment section, let us know. Type B for he'll play with the Blazers. Type O for other team. Get your predictions in down below. While we don't know where Damian Lillard is going to play next season, I do know that once I get home from work, I'm going to be crushing some Magic Spoon cereal. I talked about my magical weekend with Magic Spoon, went on a nice little hike, brought Magic Spoon with me. Wanted a late night snack, rolled it up into some peanut butter. The cocoa and the PB was bomb and off the chain. And here's the thing, you can get $5 off at checkout by going to magicspoon.com/Lakers. I've really started to take my diet seriously. Magic Spoon has allowed me to continue to do that, while eating cereal that is both healthy but also delicious. It's high in protein, keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, wheat-free, naturally flavored, totally delicious. It tastes like the cereal that we ate when we were kids, but now that many of us are grown-ups, we can sit home late at night, crush a bowl of cereal, and not worry about getting fat because Magic Spoon doesn't have all of the awful ingredients. It's not loaded with sugar as well as all those carbs, and you can get $5 off at checkout, once again, by going to magicspoon.com/Lakers. 2021 NBA Draft is coming up in just a couple of weeks, and of course we'll be covering it here at Chat Sports as well as on the Lakers Report. And who are the Lakers going to target at number 22? They have a couple of needs, backup point guard, maybe even a starting point guard if Dennis Schroeder walks. And they also need a really good shooter who could also play some defense. You know what you call that nowadays? A 3-and-D guy. Trey Murphy out of Virginia is that, and the Lakers talked to him at the NBA Draft Combine. They brought him into the facility recently and worked him out. And Trey Murphy had some good things to say about his Lakers workout. Here is what he had to say as he elaborated on that. I would say the workout went pretty well. Guys were competing at a really high level, and it was a lot of fun out there. Definitely one of my harder workouts, I would say. There was a lot of running involved, just testing our shape, testing our mental toughness, and it was a really good time getting to meet the staff and the front office, and there were a lot of good people in there. Speaking of testing the mental fortitude, did that stem from the Kobe Bryant days? Probably. If Trey Murphy has a Kobe Bryant mindset, Lakers are really going to like him. I like his game, especially with what he did at Virginia this past year. Spent a couple of seasons at Rice, transferred to Virginia to play under Tony Bennett, and played pretty well. His scoring numbers, they weren't crazy, but this is a 3-and-D guy who's not going to break you down off the dribble. He's really going to camp out around the perimeter, but he does have enough athleticism to get to the rack. 11.3 points per game. He shot 50% from the deck, 43% from deep, which is really good. And what I always look at with how I expect shooting numbers to translate, it's the free throw numbers. And while he didn't have a lot of free throw attempts at the college level at Virginia last year, around 2 per game, the 93% from the stripe, very, very good considering a lot of college prospects really struggle at the line. Here's the scouting profile I put together on Trey Murphy. He's 6'9", 206 pounds, so he's long, he's bouncy, he's also a really good athlete. And because of that, he has started recently to climb up draft boards. Earlier on, maybe even a couple months ago, you're looking at Murphy as a second-round pick. A lot of people expecting him maybe to go in the 20s, maybe at number 30 overall. At the end of the day, he might sneak into the back end of that first round. And he has defensive upside. A lot of that is because that size and that length. He can guard multiple positions. But he has modern-day value because of the defensive ability, but also his ability to knock down shots and his athleticism of him getting up and down the floor. When I look at pro comps for Trey Murphy, I'm looking at guys like Robert Covington, who possesses a lot of the same skill sets on both ends of the floor as a guy like Murphy. Maybe even a taller Isaiah Joe, who is 6'4", Murphy's 6'9", but is also bouncy, not as good of a defender as Trey Murphy, doesn't have the defensive upside that Murphy does, and Murphy at 6'9", a little bit more valuable, but some player comps there that I did think about when watching the film of Murphy back at Virginia. And a former 76ers scout agreed with me in that comparison to Robert Covington. Here's what he had to say about Murphy. He's got a little Covington in him. Robert Covington was really a 4-5 man in college, kind of bounced around the minor leagues, and we picked him up when I was there and turned him into a small forward, and he dramatically improved his defense. Trey kind of reminds me of that. His aggressiveness and his defense is not where it needs to be, but that's why he's going to be drafted in the 20s or early second round, and you need to figure out a way to develop him and make him a better player. The key word there is development. And the Lakers have had some luck with developing players who they've drafted in the 20s and making them pretty good players. And when you scout 3-and-D prospects leading into the NBA draft, you look at guys who can translate right away or play right away and get consistent run with a team that's ready to be in the playoffs like the Lakers are, that's ready to compete for an NBA championship. And those 3-and-D guys like Murphy, like Chris Duarte out of Oregon, do have the ability to play right away. That's why I like this as the Lakers pick potentially at number 22. What do you think, though? Do you want the Lakers to draft Murphy coming up in a couple of Thursdays? Type H for I'd be happy with the pick. Type U for I'd be unhappy with it. If you made it this far, hopefully you like what you're seeing here on the Lakers Report. And if you want more videos like this one, subscribe right now and hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/LakersTV. We are less than 500 subscribers away from getting to 37,000 subscribers. This is your go-to spot for all of the latest Lakers free agency news and rumors.